What is it, and why do you think it is such a game changer compared to how ordinary people think, behave, or live? Story 1. I have the ability to say, "Oh, I am wrong in this situation. I need to humble myself, apologize, and learn from this experience." Story 2. Where you focus your mind is the most important decision in determining the quality of your life. You are in control of that decision. Story 3. Diet, exercise, and social skills make dating and meeting people much easier. Also, avoid unjustified anger and fake macho behavior. Story 4. I used to have 3 sets of people I worried about pleasing. 1. My spouse or significant other. 2. Whomever signed my paychecks. Retired now, so I do not care. 3. Those I chose to please. Everyone else can go pound sand. I am not interested in your gossip and especially your drama. Do not splash your problems on me, and I will do the same for you. Love who you want to love and how you want to love. It is not my concern among consenting adults. Be kind whenever you can. It costs nothing. Story 5. It is okay to admit you do not know something. Saying, "I do not know, but I will try to find out or learn," to someone instead of trying to clearly fabricate an answer will earn you more respect and trust. Also, I only care about the approval of about 8 people. The rest of you can, respectfully, leave me alone. Story 6. How to read a room is my most cherished and valuable skill. Being on the autism spectrum meant I had to work extremely hard to become proficient. Story 7. I think, I am past middle age and in terrific shape because I love to lift weights and exercise every day. It makes life much better. I can do normal activities that other men either struggle with or cannot do anymore. Plus, I get told I look great, which is a great confidence booster. It is not a hack really. I think other men know it would be better for them if they did. They just cannot or choose not to. Story 8. Life is about 90% easier when you stop chasing women and prioritizing them over your self-esteem and personal value. Story 9. It is all about trust. Being able to admit when you are wrong and always be dating your wife. They say happy wife, happy life for a reason. Learn to cook, do the chores, and be best friends with her as well. This worked really well for me until last month when my coworker came clean and admitted that he had been having an affair with my wife for 2 years. I guess it was all lies, and I should have spent more time with my dog doing the things I enjoyed. Story 10. Tyler Durden was the first time I ever heard the theme I live by put into words. The ability to let that which does not matter truly slide. Get cut off in traffic? Coworker gossip? Want to go to bed, but there is laundry still to do? I do not give these things more of my energy than they deserve. If it will not matter by tomorrow, I can let it go now. Too many people treat every little bump in the road like a personal attack that must be dealt with. I just do not. On the rare occasion something does boil up to the point I yell or get worked up, that is usually the end of it. I yelled, I got it out of my system. It is over. Let us move forward. Story 11. Find a partner who has many positive traits that you value and work towards building a strong relationship. You will need to look past things you do not like or change some aspects of yourself to make it work, but you will ultimately be more content. Seeking the perfect partner is a trap that will leave you lonely. Story 12. Just stop arguing with people. Put your ego aside and let them be wrong. I have stopped caring about many little issues and so much stress has gone away. If they want to be an idiot, let them. Story 13. Judging from many comments and questions I see here, these grifters are just trying to lead you into their lifestyle brands at best, and actively trying to radicalize you at worst. I was an angry young man until I realized that was mostly my own mistaken beliefs. Compassion and empathy are the most important values, and if you harden your heart to criticize the marginalized and vulnerable, you are going to enter the same destructive cycle as previous generations. Story 14. Focus on yourself and become your own point of origin. Stop doing what society, your family, or women want from you. When someone asks you for something, ask yourself how doing that benefits you. Work on becoming the best version of yourself. This will give you options later in life. Story 15. Oh man, I have one that struck me today. Just show up. My child had a birthday party. A group of wild 3-year-olds running around screaming. Saturday afternoon. A bunch of boys and they all had fun. But 12 kids. 12 mothers. And me. The only man over the age of 7. The birthday child's father wasn't there. You don't have to be perfect. It's good to aim high, but just show up and you're doing pretty well. Story 16. I realized I am gay and attracted to men. My husband and I seem happier than most married couples I know. Story 17. Compassion and empathy are the most important skills you can develop for leading a happy and fulfilling life. Story 18. If you are not taking care of yourself, there is no way you can properly take care of others. Do not try to do too much and feel resentment or anger towards those who would normally like to help. Drink more water than anything else. Story 19. I cannot take credit for it, but I have been a part of a men's group for over 25 years. Having a place to share my thoughts every other week and be listened to by a group of men who neither give advice nor criticism has been an amazing experience. Story 20. Be kind, work hard, and be open to trying new things. I think that no matter what kind of life you want to live or where you go, these 3 things will serve anyone well. Story 21. A confident man is one who has no need to prove it in any way. His mannerisms will simply be relaxed and at ease. Only men who are trying to cover up insecurity feel the need to walk around with an attitude or what some call strong confidence. A truly confident man does not care at all what others think, whether he is wearing pink tights or a dark suit. You are not defined by what you wear or drive. You are defined by who you are inside. Story 22. Testosterone injections in your 50s prescribed by a doctor give you energy, improve exercise performance, and slow aging slightly. Story 23. Not better than other people but has improved my life considerably is buying and fully understanding how to use an espresso machine. I only go to a coffee shop if I am geographically unable to be at my home. This machine has really added happiness to my mornings. Story 24. Investing. My father got me started, and it is essentially a superpower. It feels like the laws and tax system are designed to unduly benefit those who have assets. Story 25. I love and appreciate my wife. As a younger man, I felt a general discontent, like I would get upset if I planned something to get away from the stressors of family life and she wanted to come along. These days, I love going out with her. She is captain of both my pool teams, and through a lot of patience and maturing, both of us have grown closer over the years. We are like peas in a pod now, and it is the first period of my life I have felt true contentment. Story 26. Accountability builds authenticity. Authenticity builds unshakable confidence. That confidence affects everything you do and everyone you meet. Learn, be humble, be the change you want to see. Story 27. There is a huge difference between not having a good day and having a bad day. As long as whatever happened does not affect tomorrow, get some sleep and try again tomorrow. Story 28. Make it as easy as possible to make the right choices and as hard as possible to make the wrong ones. In terms of exercise, I made sure to live somewhere I could walk to and from work and made sure that my gym was midway between the two. In terms of diet, I designed my eating around the satiety index, so I eat a variety of foods that make it easier for me to feel full and avoid wanting more food. In terms of finances, I automate all of my investments and receive alerts if I spend over a certain amount each month. Story 29. As a man in his 30s, the bar is ridiculously low for dating, almost absurdly low. It might even be underground. If you have your life moderately together, are an attentive listener, and take at least some care of your appearance, you are already ahead of most men. Things are difficult out there, but that makes standing out a lot easier if you put in a little effort. When I go out with women in their 30s, they are used to men who avoid all emotional labor, need a lot of hand-holding, or refuse to give up their bachelor lifestyle in the slightest. I barely have my life somewhat together, but apparently, that is enough to clear the bar. When I go out with women who are slightly younger, in their 20s, they are used to men who have fallen hard for the manosphere and alpha male nonsense, or who will not stop talking about cryptocurrency. I have been told this is very common now. The bar is even lower for them. Story 30. Realizing how much stuff I cared deeply about was really not that big a deal. This is something that stereotypically comes with age, and I am old. In my 20s, I was cleaning up and found something that I had really wanted and was excited to get. Now here it was in a box. If you had asked me half an hour earlier where it was, I could not have told you. I stared at it and tried to remember the excitement of opening it, but I just could not recreate it. Then I got to thinking, how much stuff that I cared about 10 years ago do I still care about now? What do I care about now that I will not care about in 20 years? What do I care about now that I will still care about in 20 years? What came to me was the realization that it is relationships with other people that I am going to care about because those are the only things that remain important for a long time. How you treat other people is something you need to be really careful about. Once when my son was putting out the garbage, he hit the garbage can into the rearview mirror on my car and knocked it off. He was in an absolute panic. He was terrified. I showed him that it just pops off and then pops right back on, nothing to worry about. Then I wondered why he was so afraid, and that gave me reason to think about how I handle my anger. Do I yell too much? It cannot be good that my son was so afraid of what might happen after something like that. I needed to think about that. Even if it had been catastrophic damage to the car, that car is long gone now. I still have a relationship with my son. Would it make sense to harm a relationship with a relationship I hope lasts for my entire life, because I was angry about a car that I probably would not still have in another 10 years? Story 31. There are no rules for life. You can literally do anything you want. Social and societal norms exist, but you do not have to follow them. Want to live alone, never bathe, and play video games all day? If that genuinely makes you happy, then do it. Do not let others' expectations of what is required to be happy, complete, or at peace influence what you do. If you find what works for you, do it. Just be aware that some actions may lead people to try to confine you, which for most people would cause unhappiness. Keep that in mind. Otherwise, go ahead and be yourself. Marry your dog, sleep in a pile of rags and eat from garbage cans, wander the world making friends, marry a wealthy widow, be the person who washes windows at the stoplight, start a company, become a computer hacker, whatever gets you there. Story 32. Caring less about what other people think of me. Much less. Focusing my attention only on the people I care about. Story 33. In many situations, less is more. I am sure many more experienced men know this as well, but I wish I had realized it earlier in life. People do not need to know every single detail of every event. Story 34. It is not one thing for me. It is a combination. Live below your means by brewing your own coffee and packing a lunch for work. Work hard and differentiate yourself from the competition. Invest in your retirement in your 20s. Seek therapy for your wounds and trauma. Appreciate simple things in nature that do not cost money. Sleep well and continue to grow. Story 35. Being able to agree with someone when they are wrong, especially in regards to trivial matters, is valuable. Depending on the context, this can also apply to larger issues. The amount of energy I save by not engaging with someone who cannot or refuses to accept being wrong, or who cannot see things from any perspective other than their own, is extraordinary. Humor them if you have to. Story 36. Emotional awareness. I believe my ability to connect with my feelings at any given moment helps me lead the life I want. I have difficult conversations and do challenging things. I am fit, have a strong community, live with abundance, and consider myself very fortunate. Story 37. Not something you can do so much as it is something you are, being child-free. Looking in from the outside, it is just mind-boggling how much stress and negativity you all put up with just to pass on your genes. Story 38. The less I spend now, the more I can live like people who spend it all today in the future, and it is not like I am not already ahead of those people. Story 39. It's not that hard. If John Smith can do it, so can I. It is a huge confidence booster personally and professionally. Additionally, I know I can fix my own problems cheaply, so I save a lot of money. Story 40. Not caring about what other people think is something I find advantageous. I do not know how rare it is, but I know several people, mostly younger, who seem obsessed with others' opinions. This leads to anxiety, resulting in isolation on one hand and social media addiction on the other. Story 41. Investing in yourself, your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit. By working on yourself as a whole, you attract better things in life. You will feel blessed and highly favored by something greater than you, such as the universe or God. Story 42. I walk into a room wondering if I will like the people there, not the other way around. I also have a very strong opinion. Forget your feelings. I am not a nice person anymore because being nice got me used. I am still a good person, though. Story 43. I only have 3 concerns to give per day, and I am generally out by noon. I do not involve myself in the mental circus of others. Story 44. One of the most important things in life is to like the person looking back at you in the mirror. They are always going to be with you. Decide what qualities you would like that person to have. Then factor that into all of your decisions. Story 45. I have deciphered one of the greatest hacks of all time, and it has made my life exponentially better. I have a drawer full of identical socks. There is never a missing sock. They are never mismatched. I do not have to sort them. I just reach in and grab 2. I also have all Levi's 501 jeans hanging in my closet. I keep my dress socks in a separate drawer and have a separate hanging area for dress slacks. Story 46. This is going to sound like nonsense, but the only way I can describe this is through metaphor. If your third eye is constantly staring backward into your own thoughts and emotions, you are only strengthening the thoughts and emotions that do not serve you. You are not your thoughts. This is not to say you should ignore or suppress negative feelings and thoughts. That is detrimental as well. But if you find yourself constantly examining and re-examining why you feel like a bad person, you are only strengthening the idea that you are a bad person. It is like studying for a test. To memorize something, you repeat it over and over. This strengthens the connections between the neurons holding that information so that you can recall it more easily. The same goes for negative thoughts and emotions. The more you repeat them to yourself, the stronger the connection in your brain becomes, and the easier it is to hate yourself. Train yourself to notice these negative thoughts and feelings, but then let them go. Stop over-examining them because you are only holding on to them. Story 47. I moved into a city with low population density, and everything is cheaper. I bought a house before the age of 30. Story 48. Such a game changer. Gratitude. It is hard to be down about life if your baseline is focused on appreciating, not just all the good, but also the hard times. Appreciating that one is not only capable, but also has the opportunity to face adversity and come out the other side is a real blessing. Life is a gift, one we unwrap anew every single morning. Story 49. Learn to take advice. Many problems can be resolved by listening to people who have done what you want to do. Exercise. Don't like going to the gym? Find a sport. Tried a sport and didn't like it? Find another. Find someone who has done that workout or sport and ask them many questions. People love talking about themselves, so take advantage of that. Diet. If you know how to eat properly, that's great. If you don't, learn how and apply it. Talk to a nutritionist if you can afford it. Use Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer and ask for advice on what to eat. It is not a perfect replacement for a nutritionist, but it is helpful. Social skills. Be yourself, but learn to show different sides of you depending on the situation. Be your party self at a party, your work self at work, and so on. Career. Find a mentor you trust and ask as many questions as possible. Many mistakes can be avoided by discussing plans with others. Relationship. Listen to older couples who have been together for a long time. Listen to both partners. Remember that not all advice is good advice for you. You have to discern which advice to take. These are game changers because men often feel they must know everything. Be humble and aware that others know better than you in their areas of expertise. Story 50. If you do not know something, whether it is at work, with your friends, or even during an online discussion, take the opportunity to learn. I have gained many small pieces of knowledge from various interactions that may never be useful, but they are there. For example, if you are having a discussion and someone uses a word that catches you off guard, look it up so you can understand the other person's viewpoint. It also shows that you are curious and mature. Story 51. Since half of our lives involve interacting with women, at least half of your problems will be solved if you learn not to get married. It is not a secret. It is not rocket science. If you want a better, more comfortable, and cheaper life, do not get married. Story 52. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Story 53. Every conversation I have with any forever alone man highlights that looks are not everything and that effort converted into action is more important. It is easier to blame the entire world than to look inward. You are the captain of your own life. Only your hand is on the wheel. If you are adrift, it is because you let go. Story 54. Well, women compliment me, flirt with me, and approach me offline and on dating applications sometimes. Not often, but not rare either. So I guess I am lucky in that regard. In no way do I think I am better than 95% of other men, though. Story 55. Staying away from alpha male content and intense right-wing rhetoric. I am fairly liberal now, but I am glad I recognized nonsense when my friends showed me some Jordan Peterson videos. At the time, I was a psychology major specializing in addiction therapy focused on men and minorities. I dropped out, but I applied much of what I learned to my personal life and experiences. It is difficult because I have friends who are very alt-right and alpha males who want traditional wives who obey them. The alpha male idea just reeks of insecurity and fear, and it is a definite no from me. Story 56. Masculinity is unimportant. If you do not care about how masculine you are, and do not care if others think you are masculine or not, it is very freeing. Story 57. If you do not compare yourself to others, no one's life can be better or worse than yours, as far as you care. It is freeing. Story 58. Having and then handling and processing emotions is difficult, and it is a skill that can be learned. We have made some progress on this culturally, but many men still pretend they do not have emotions because they have internalized that this is the expectation for men. Story 59. Living within or below my means, not trying to keep up with the Joneses. Most importantly, understanding and accepting that neither of these lowers my happiness level. Story 60. Too many people think they are magically 1 in 8 billion lucky to have never been wrong in their lives, magically having the right religion, the right political beliefs, and the right opinions on social issues without any need for correction. There is no way we are all that lucky at the same time. Story 61. Male birth control. I have been using the thermal method by testicle ascent for a few years now, and it has completely changed my life in terms of sex, relationships, and control over my fertility and body. Story 62. I do not care about being seen as a man. I am gay. Once I broke the fundamental rule of masculinity, everything else is just petty change. Story 63. Bought my first place and am decorating it how I want. I have learned so much about myself and things I did not know I liked. Color schemes and lighting are all new to me. Story 64. The difference between men and women is vastly overstated by many men. It is not harder to be friends with women than with men. Story 65. Not putting too much value on women and placing them on a pedestal. Men, please control your desire, and things will become much clearer. Story 66. I eat and drink what my body wants. I feel great. It is surprising how many people choose to eat and drink whatever they want rather than what makes them feel good. Once you realize certain foods make you feel bad, you really do not miss them. Dairy, meat, and fried foods hold no appeal. Story 67. Not becoming overwhelmed when learning or approaching new tasks or problems, and trying not to overthink or overanalyze, and not letting my anxiety take over. It has taken a long time, but my life is much better not being frustrated all the time. Story 68. Trust, especially in your partner, is important, at least compared to the men on Reddit. You can trust people and risk an occasional hurt, or you can choose not to trust them and live every day suspicious of everyone and everything. I chose the former and have been much happier since. Story 69. I am a brother who is very committed to honor, so if I do something wrong and go against my code of honor, I will think about it until I figure out where I made a mistake. Story 70. You are a man. Your life is up to you. Everything that happens to you is a consequence of your decisions. It is not the system's fault. It is not women's fault. It is nobody's fault but your own. Stop whining and stop victimizing yourself. Get on your feet, go to the gym, read some books, be an entrepreneur, and make something of yourself. Once I adopted this mentality, my life improved immensely. Story 71. It's not your wallet but your needs that decide if you are rich or not. Decrease your needs and you will be richer. Story 72. Before interacting with people, I try to set myself to a more positive mode, thinking to myself that my opinions matter and that I am interesting. That reflects in your body language, and often people respond positively to that. Combine that with active listening, and you have a good base. Story 73. Probably something along the lines of how women have been empowered significantly in recent years. This is absolutely a positive development, lifting women out of the conservative mindset in which they were previously confined. However, men now seem to be lagging behind this movement. While women are much more progressive, many men still hold conservative beliefs. The traditional stoicism associated with men continues to harm their emotional well-being. This is detrimental to both genders, as women still desire their partners to be emotionally available. Yet men are not encouraged to express these feelings. I would say this is a root cause of many issues in today's relationships. Story 74. Started sleeping on a floor mattress recently, and it feels so much better. My back is thanking me. Story 75. It is all on you. You are exactly where all your decisions have led. Make better decisions and be in a better place. It is not anyone else's fault but yours. Story 76. Be yourself and be honest with yourself and others. You are not going to make everyone happy, and that is okay. Stick with the people who you do make happy and who do the same for you. Story 77. Nothing is black and white. It is all shades of gray. I know very little for certain. I only know what my experiences have been. It is freeing. Story 78. Jim God saying no to zero alcohol. Nothing is in our control. Reading Bhagavad Gita. Controlling emotions. Buying things for myself. Asking, will it make me happy? Is it worth it? Story 79. Just start ignoring people. If that is hard for you to do and you want to respond to them but no, it is not worth it, start doing something. Anything. Play a game. Start taking your car apart, then start putting it back together. You will be too busy thinking about how you have damaged your vehicle, how much money it will cost to fix, and how you will commute now, so you will not think about that person or what they did or said. Story 80. Minding my business. Keeping track of things on my calendar. Staying clean and organized. Slowly reducing passive-aggressive tendencies in my behavior. Controlling what I can. Being proactive. Story 81. When you have a problem, never assume you are the smartest person in the room. 99.9% of the time, someone else has had the same problem and figured it out. Go find that person. For the 0.1% of the time when no one has worked out something, you will be rich when you do. Story 82. As vulgar as it is, the man pawn. After defecating, wipe with a wet wipe or at least wet toilet paper. Then, fold a length of toilet paper lengthwise until you have a flat, rectangular wad about as wide as a $50 and wedge it right up in there between the cheeks. It keeps you dry, prevents skin irritation, and reduces unpleasant smells. Story 83. Stopped caring about what others want and focused on my own needs and desires. It was a game changer. Abusers and takers are typically the first to leave. They give up when you refuse to cave to their demands immediately. Everyone left is someone who understands my goals and is fully supportive. Story 84. Patience, humility, and understanding the difference between caring and worrying. Learning how to stop mental loops that physiologically break us. Story 85. You cannot control others. All you can control is your own behavior, attitude, and reaction to things. This has made me feel more free and at peace. Story 86. Being above 6 feet tall, I feel like it makes you more attractive to the opposite sex. People inherently give you more respect, and you do not have a large feeling of inadequacy from social stigmas. Those short men tend to be the angriest. Story 87. I would say being respectful with a bit of assertion. I have found that one of my greatest abilities is to connect with people. Interestingly, I barely talk. I mostly just listen. Late last year, I took a new job after being self-employed for several years, so I was actually anxious about people not liking me. A few days ago at work, I was sitting in the canteen with my back to the door. There were several of us scattered around. Every person who walked through the door called me out, "Hey Gusto kid, what's up, man?" and patted me on the back. After the sixth person, I sat there for a minute thinking, damn, I am actually liked by people. What's more interesting is that people often seem to want to help me. They say, I'm not helping anyone, but when I saw you, I had to come and lend a hand. I have even had people step up for me in disputes with new employees, arguments, in fact. One new employee was told by my colleague, if you ever talk to him, make sure you do it with respect, which ended the dispute. The only explanation I can give is simply being respectful to people and their space. Saying please, thanks, and sorry can take you a long way. Story 88. When I was younger and struggling with dating, I fell into the common trap of being friends with women I was interested in, hoping they would eventually see me as a romantic or sexual partner. One of the best things I ever did for myself was realize that this is a trap, one that I set for myself but a trap nonetheless, and that if someone does not reciprocate my interest, I can and should move on. I had plenty of friends and did not need more. Wasting time trying to please women who were not interested was stealing time from women who potentially were. Making that change made my life much better. Story 89. I don't lose my temper easily. I know people who have terrible road rage, argue a lot, or get upset by the smallest things. For instance, someone I talked to recently was very angry at a bank when the clerk asked if they wanted their withdrawn money in a bag. As if that was the rudest, most demeaning question one could ask a customer. I have seen so much of this that I have decided that, for most things, it just doesn't matter. Unless the issue is very serious, it is best to let it go. Life is happier that way. Story 90. Old school safety razors are the peak of shaving technology for those with normal blood clotting. Cartridge razors cannot cut hair nearly as well, even with multiple blades, jam easily with hair, dull quickly, and are significantly more expensive. Story 91. Hanlon's razor. Hurt people. Call it whatever you want. The realization that most people are not as manipulative as they would need to be to intentionally do terrible things makes life much easier to navigate. It also helps you avoid blaming yourself for your own mistakes. Now, if only I could get my wife to understand that. Instead, I just nod my head and say, 50 times in a row when she talks about how the nurse who gave her an allergy shot this morning is against her. Story 92. Yes, definitely. Hearing about how many men are in relationships but either don't feel a need to help out, or make sure their wife is satisfied in bed first, or just a simple need to hold and cuddle their wife or girlfriend, and how unfeeling many men are about emotional matters. It is so alien to me that I think my brain is just wired completely differently. This is a bit reductionist, but I think most marriages fail simply because of a lack of mutual empathy. If both spouses could feel that, it would be a match made in heaven, but empathy is such a rare quality for people to have, sadly. I cannot articulate it well, but I see beauty and emotion in things at a level that nobody else seems to. Other people sometimes feel robotic. When I walk around the city, I feel a bit of pride to be born a human. All the skyscrapers, fellow humans, 8 billion of us sharing this beautiful planet with the animals, despite all the damage we are doing to it. I enjoy watching the sunsets and the stars. Music and art are all magical and sentimental to me, yet no one else in my life seems to appreciate them on the same level. Even with people, it is easy and cathartic to defuse situations, and I find it so out of character to get worked up about things when I can see the bigger picture so easily. Some couples argue over the most mundane matters, but how can you not pause and realize how pointless it is? Even if you cannot see eye to eye in the moment, how hard is it to walk away and come back when things have cooled down? It should always be us versus the problem, instead of you versus me, with no exceptions. With every single confrontation I have ever had, and I am not joking, even with intoxicated people, it has either ended with a handshake, some laughs, or them calmly walking away. I have never been tested as an empath, but I have been told I show a lot of the hallmarks. Feels like a very handy thing to have. I feel happy knowing I am going to get to appreciate so much beauty and meaning in this world through my life, but I am not going to try to make people see things through my eyes because it feels like trying to explain color to a blind person. I know all of this sounds corny or like I am tooting my own horn, but I do not really have another way to put it. Story 93. Having no interest in dating is a godsend for making progress and avoiding the distractions and manipulation that can come from a relationship. It also prevents women from controlling you. I have not thought about dating in almost a year, and I have grown so much because of it and removed toxic people in the process. Story 94. Disagree with the framing of the question. General, more universal advice for people is, try to live your life, live and let live, and be your real self if you possibly can understand that. Story 95. Your post has been flagged as trying to figure out a specific person's or group's actions or thinking. If you think this action was made in error, message our moderators with a link to the post for approval. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Story 96. Oh, it's just pathetic. What kind of secret dream do you wish to be confirmed? That being nice to girls will get you any? I am so tired of these stupid leading question threads on Reddit where people come to confirm their silly beliefs. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.